Hello, this is the Reading on the Rocks podcast. We are Kelsey,
Chandler,
and Morgan. We like to drink and read books and then talk about them. Welcome to the group chat.
hello. Welcome to Reading on the Rocks this week. Last week we finished off Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. So go back to our last episode if you want to hear our final thoughts on Phantasma and what we rated it. But before we get into our new book, let's talk about our drinks. Kelsey, what are you drinking this week?
I went simple this week. I am drinking a watermelon lemonade hard seltzer.
Yummy. Love a watermelon lemonade. Morgan, what are you drinking?
I've got a vodka, how do I phrase this? Pink lemonade vodka Sprite is what I have. Thank you, in my brand new cup that I had to go back into the store and get because I was so excited.
Yummy.
I am also drinking a vodka pink lemonade with Sprite, but my cup has dogs on it.
Cute.
Cute.
They're Morgan's dogs.
They're my puppies.
Morgan, what's our new book?
This week, we read the first half of Tress in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is, I think it's your first time.
My first Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, so this is both of our first time reading Brandon Sanderson. Tell me how you feel so far about it, Chan?
I think he does an amazing job building the world.
Yeah.
I think world building can be super repetitive or it can be very dry and you are confused. But I think he makes it engaging and understandable. And I think that definitely a major skill he has as a writer is building the world. I haven't read all of his books, but Kelsey swears his world building is amazing in every single book. And I can tell based off of this book that he does a great job world building. Morgan, what do you think so far?
I'd agree with you. The writing's pretty lyrical, and you had mentioned, Kels, that it's not usually like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I read Mistborn. That's the trilogy that I've read of his so far, and I'm halfway through Way of Kings. So his writing is not usually lyrical. He also doesn't really have this third-party narrator, I don't think, a lot of the times, which this time he does. So I think it tracks because I think he said that this is a love letter to his wife, so I think it makes more sense. This book is so pretty and lyrical and just it's so funny. I think the narrator is so funny. So I
do love the narrator.
I love the narrator. Yeah. He's great. But yeah, his world building though is like this in all of his books though. It's definitely learn as you go, but I feel none of it is too dense to be so freaking confused the whole time.
It's not you open the pages and you're like, what the hell's happening here? Give me a little bit of context. I caught on to he started it with a super, super understandable definition of who Tress is and the rock that she lives on. Yeah. Which was super cool. He gave us just enough information right at the beginning to get our feet wet. And then as the story builds, he adds more elements, which I think is pretty seamless. Because it's not he's just information dumping on us, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate other people's world building where it's just right at the beginning and someone's just explaining everything to the main character just over and over and over. And I think, people are definitely explaining things to Tress because Tress has never left this rock before, so she's learning kind of as we go as well. But it's from different people, and I think it's just so seamless, and she's just kind of thrown into some of these things and learned. So yeah, his world building I think is immaculate, especially since this is a standalone. It's such a big world that he creates, and it's so easy to follow for a standalone book that's 400 pages max, I think this book is, and it's so big. I know it's part of the Cosmere, so it's a little bit tied to his other books, but you don't need to read his other books to completely understand what's happening here. So I think it's fantastic world building for sure.
I love it. How do you feel about the third party POV?
I'm okay with it because I think it matches this like lyrical vibe.
The narrative, sure.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of weird to get into, and you don't actually know who the narrator is until a ways into it. It ends up being,
I think it's like chapter like 5 that you figure
yeah.
it out.
There's it ends up being Hoyd is his name, who we don't even know what he is, because that could be like a theory in and of itself. But he's cursed, so he's basically has turned into like this simpleton almost, but he remembers everything and is somehow knows all of these things about Tress. Eventually, I'm sure we'll find out. But it's definitely weird to get into, and I wasn't expecting it coming from other Brandon Sanderson books. But I think it just kind of like meshes well with this lyrical love letter to his wife, basically coming of age story that he's created, for sure.
I personally really like hot take. I love a third person POV. I do. I think they're kind of fun, and you get like you not only hear the main character's story, but you also get like other people's opinions on it. And I think they're super fun. But this one I really, really like because I love it when he breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, I do.
And he like talks directly to the audience that he's like explaining this like story and situation to, and he like talks directly to them. And I think every time he talks directly to them, I giggled a little bit each time.
Yeah, me too. They were my favorite parts, honestly. I love when he breaks the fourth wall. It's so funny.
He did it. I giggled when he did it when I can't remember his name, something, the zombie
Oolong.
What is it?
Oolong.
Oolong?
Yeah, like oolong tea.
I don't know what oolong tea is.
It's like a tea you get in like China and stuff.
Okay, well, oolong then. I like it when Oolong was writing down all the quotes, because Hoyd, we should probably explain a little bit of this. Hoyd, the narrator, who we learn is the narrator a little bit into the book, is cursed. Well, we can't even we have to start from like the beginning. Like we have to tell everyone.
You have to tell everybody Hoyd's cursed.
Well, I have to tell them about the rock and the sorceress and the seas and stuff.
Okay.
So I should do that.
See, it's so complicated, but somehow he totally made this world, and we all know exactly what's happening.
I know, and then when it's like on my shoulders, I'm like, I can't
explain
tell people that. That's way too elaborate. But the story follows Tress. Tress is a young girl who seems to have fallen in love with a duke's son, and the duke sees Tress and his name's Charlie together, and essentially ships Charlie off to sea and
to get him married
off, because he can't marry Tress.
Because Tress is a commoner.
She's a window washer. Sweet little thing. And 2 years go by, and she stops receiving. He used to send her mugs every stop he went, in like a little story.
I thought it was just 1 year.
I thought it was 2.
I think it was 1 year of him rejecting people, and then maybe more time when he didn't send any mugs back.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, anyway, some time goes by, and he stops writing her. And finally, the ship comes back with the Duke, and Charlie's not on it. And they essentially have, I think it was
like a new Duke.
His cousin,
a new
or
heir,
something.
because something happened to Charlie.
Yeah. And the consensus is the sorceress across the seas in the faraway spaces of whatever, the universe, took Charlie as a hostage, I guess. I don't really know what the situation would be.
Did she take Charlie, or was she given Charlie?
I think he was traded.
I feel like he was essentially said, you're going to keep messing around with the marriage market? Cool. You go to the sorceress. I think your nephew or your cousin will come in.
I think, his dad, like, sent him off in a ship and, like, knew he was going to get taken, but... Mm-hmm. But
that's
the
kind
sorceress
of the vibes I got.
Yeah, the sorceress then asked for a ransom from the king or whatever, so I don't think they necessarily struck a deal. Yeah.
Yes, I remember. But yeah, so Tress takes it upon herself. She says, nobody's going to go save Charlie, so I'm going to go save Charlie. And she
There's 12 seas.
There's 12 seas, there's 12 moons, and these particles come off the moons called spores, and the spores have different abilities, and the seas are made up of spores. So they're not really solid seas, like water seas as we see them. It's just like, I kind of envision it as like colored, constant moving sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was pictures, which I love.
Yeah, those were
book
fun.
has pictures. Yeah, it looks like basically quicksand. And every once in a while it comes to a standstill and the spores don't move and then it keeps moving. And that's how ships get around, is on these moving spores that look like sand.
Mm-hmm. So she gets on a ship and the ship's kind of strange and she's met some people and that's where we're at. She's sailing across the seas.
To save Charlie.
To save old Charlie boy. But yeah, I think I like the third person POV, the breaking of the fourth wall, a lot too. Because he also had said, oh, that's where I was going with this whole conversation. Oh my god.
Tell me you have ADHD without telling me
I know.
you have ADHD.
God. Can you imagine? Imagine what it's like in my brain all the time, according to this conversation. But
continue.
What's his name? Oolong?
Mm-hmm.
Oolong had him and the narrator Hoyd are long best friends or something like that. And Oolong's writing down all the silly things that Hoyd says. And then he, as the narrator was portraying this to us, the readers, Oolong says something along, he'll never live it down for decades, and then in parentheses it's like he never did live it down, or I never did live it down, or something, which I thought was kind of fun. Like, I just love the banter of the two little best friends, and that kind of thing is fun for me. So.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I do like that too.
I guess it should be said that also Hoyd, so our narrator, and Oolong or whatever you want to call him, they're from another world, another planet, another universe, something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Basically, we know. Obviously, probably from another Brandon Sanderson world.
I was about to say, I wonder if they're in another Brandon Sanderson book, like they're mentioned.
Yeah, they must be or something. But it sounds like they're both like immortal because they've been alive for eons or whatever they say. Because like Oolong came to this planet to find out what happened to Hoyd, and then he just stuck around because he likes seeing Hoyd in this predicament. And he's like, he's not going to break the curse for him. He's just hanging out with him.
He's just giggling at his friend.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like babysitting a drunk.
I was about to say, it's like babysitting your drunk friend, and you're just documenting. It's like he's got Snapchat open to document his drunk friend.
Just decades long. Yeah, I love the fourth wall breaks. I mean, there's a few, and I think they're so funny. Like there was one where I'm guessing. Well, I read this and I was like, is Brandon Sanderson's wife like a librarian? Because he says more twisted than a librarian's love life, and then Princess, trust me, they're a strange bunch. I laughed. I was like, is that a dig or something? It was so funny to me. But they also break the fourth wall a couple times, kind of making fun of other like coming of age fantasy stories, like oh, Tress did something no other young hero does. Actually took the time to maybe think about this for a second.
I love that. Or reevaluate the situation or something.
Or I think he also said like, oh, and Tress went and talked to her parents, and in parentheses, more people should really do that in these situations. Like there was so many. I think there was another great one. What was it? Oh, do you know how many grand romances would have been avoided if the hero had thought, maybe I should ask her if she likes me first?
It's comical. He's hilarious.
It is. I think it's so funny. Oh, so funny. But I feel like it almost sets this one apart because it's definitely, I mean, it's a coming of age, like adventure, fantasy book, which is like so overdone obviously in the world. Like there's so many of these books, but it feels so fresh because of all of that, for sure. Yeah,
it feels like not a brand new genre, but like a fresh take. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Different kind of read. But yeah. What do you are those your quotes then? Those are good ones. Or do you have anything else?
I do have another quote. Do we have any theories though? I don't really. Before I
I
get
don't
into
feel
that.
like I have any theories. I do wonder what kind of state she's gonna find Charlie in. If it's gonna be like, I know it's a standalone, but it's a happy ever after standalone. Is she gonna learn to continue to be an independent woman standalone? Like, I'm just curious to find the state that she's gonna find Charlie in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We only have half a book left, and she has
She's got to waste it
not
out.
even made it close to the Black Sea where Charlie's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it I feel like I don't want him to be like dead or anything cuz she'd be sad.
Is he gonna be cursed like Hoyd?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I can't imagine.
But it
she has
feels like
to save Hoyd.
Low key hot take. I do want to see Hoyd's curse be broken.
I do too.
Yeah.
But mostly because no, I feel like mostly because I only want to see it be broken because I want to see if his person, like, I know, like, he's described as a simpleton with his curse, and I think that's part of why he's so freaking funny to me. And I want to see, is he gonna, like, is some of those simpleton mannerisms gonna continue on in his life after his curse is broken?
Long-term side effects of his curse.
He's been cursed for too long.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. But I like, because people always talk about this book not as like a romance, so I almost feel like it's not, they're not gonna end up together. This is just like a Tress discovering herself kind of story.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll save him, or maybe she won't, but I feel like it would be kind of dark if she doesn't.
Yeah.
She's gonna, but they're gonna end
like
up being
book.
best buddies. She
Yeah,
saves him,
that'd be
but they're
great.
best buddies. That's my theory. She saves him and they become best buddies.
There you go. Or like, I mean, because Charlie probably won't obviously want to go back to the Rock or anything, and maybe Tress finds herself wants to be independent, and then they just sail the 12 seas together forever.
I can see that.
They're gonna do some pirateering, maybe. I
know.
don't know. I guess I've just been like so immersed in the ride of it all
Mm-hmm.
that I don't really have any theories.
Yeah.
I feel
I don't really. Yeah. I don't have anything other than I really want to know Hoyd and Ulam's story more.
Yeah, they're
so
fun.
Maybe people can tell me, is their story in another one of Brandon Sanderson's books? Because I need to know which one it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully I don't have to read 12 books to get there.
Do you
With
feel...
your luck, that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, probably. They're gonna be like, they're gonna come up in the new release that just came out like this month. That's where they're at.
It's the first day of the first book of the series.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a good first Brandon Sanderson book?
I think yes and no. Probably for like the same reasons. Like, yes, this will absolutely show you his world building and stuff like that, but the writing is definitely different. I don't remember if it was first person or third person for Mistborn. I'd have to look at that, but I think his writing is definitely different, and it's definitely more dense in his other books. So maybe if like you're not used to the dense fantasy, I think this would probably be a good intro to see if you like his world building for sure. But if you're like super attached to this writing style, then maybe this wouldn't be the good first one, because it's definitely different than his other works. But
yeah, I think it feels, for me, having this been my first Brandon Sanderson book, it kind of feels like I'm on the outside of an inside joke. Because, like, there's some things that I'm like, oh, that sounds like something I should know, and then I just don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoy the writing and the world building. So, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it, Jan?
I do. I enjoy the writing and the world building. I definitely feel like I'm ready to jump into the Brandon Sanderson world after reading just half of this.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my god, you guys need to watch or read Mistborn.
I hear it's a pretty intense world, so
it is an intense world. Mistborn, after this, I think Mistborn would be a good start for you guys because, again, it's such great world building, super understandable though. But Mistborn has like pining, longing, slow burn.
Ooh.
It doesn't have, I mean, Brandon Sanderson, he doesn't do spice, but there is romance in his books for sure. And I spent 3 books of Mistborn waiting for the characters to get together.
Waiting for it to
like,
happen.
Slow burn. And like, so it's like subtle, but you guys know pining is the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's so satisfying when they get together.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some other characters besides?
Do you have anyone?
Oolong and Hoyt.
Yes.
We can talk about.
I need to talk about Huck.
Oh, I
love Huck.
Huck is a little. They call him a familiar, but he says he's not really a familiar, so I don't really know what that means. But he's a little rat that Tress saved on the ship that they sank. The pirate sank.
Yeah. So like Tress and Huck are now, and everybody else is now at the end of the chapter 34, they're on a pirate ship, and this pirate ship, the captain is trying to make them become, what are they?
Dead runners.
Basically, dead runners. Basically, wanted pirates. And the only way to become wanted pirates is to sink and kill people on a pirate ship for the sake of sinking and killing people on a pirate ship, not even for their like treasure, their to riches, like steal their riches. And so they are on Tress gets kind of smuggled onto a original pirate ship, and she gets found, and they put her in basically the brig, and then that's where she meets Huck. And when the new ship, the one that she's currently on, comes in to kill them and sink them for the sake of sinking them, she saves Huck and meets Huck, or then they become pretty much best buddies, and they're like inside of their own little world trying to save Charlie. Like Huck is like,
Huck, I think
Huck straight up tells her, I don't agree with what you're doing. Yeah. But you saved my life, so I'm joining you.
I mean,
on multiple occasions. And so like I can see Huck having ulterior motives. Like
something's up with Huck. I think he's
what
a
if
good
he's
guy,
connected to the sorceress in some way?
Well, he's gotta be, because the sorceress, they allude to the fact that he was created by the sorceress, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
So I think Huck knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wants Tress to become an independent woman, a strong independent woman.
He's just trying to character build our main character.
Yes.
Thank you, Huck.
There you go. Yes, I do love Huck. He's so funny.
What do you think about Crow?
Say Crow, oh my gosh. I was blown away by the Crow like surprise. So they go to sink another ship or take over another ship, and one of the people on that ship turns to shoot Crow because she killed like someone else on the ship, so he was like super mad about it. And she had not a care in the world, and she just turned the gun on herself and shot herself in the face. And turns out that her body is like overtaken by spores or something. They're basically like living inside as parasites. They just do this randomly with people, and it like stopped her from dying. And like the spores, when they get hit with certain things or whatever, they turn into like trees and branches and shit like that. So it just like sprang out of her face and stuff like that to save her from being shot. So I was like, I literally was like, what the hell is happening right now? So
I went back and had to read it again. I'm like, she just shot herself in the head.
She just shot
Like,
herself?
what the
Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's definitely she's sneaky. She's a sneaky captain with her own motives.
Why would she want to be a dead runner though? Is my thing.
Because remember, they're not going to be able to go. She wants them to go to the Crimson Sea, but the Crimson Sea is scary.
Uh-huh.
And if they're dead runners and they're trying to escape the king and all of his guards because they're dead runners, they'll go to the Crimson Sea. No, there's just her team will go to the Crimson Sea because the king's guards don't go there.
I think the reasoning is it's that, and she's trying to make them dead runners so that they're all more dependent on her. So if they all become dead runners, even if they leave the ship, they won't be able to live a free life anymore. So as soon as they get complicit in that dead running, then they will more likely just listen to her and go with her to the Crimson Sea because she needs them.
Oh, okay. So you think she's trying to build essentially an armada to take her into the Crimson Sea to save herself. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I remember that being a topic of her trying to essentially blacklist her whole ship. But I didn't understand why. But that makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any quote?
I don't. Well, I had one more character. One more character thing I wanted to talk about.
Go ahead. You talk about that character thing.
I can't remember the character's name, but he has basically an assistive technology.
Yeah. Ford, I think.
Ford.
Ford. That doesn't sound right. But yes, I know who you're talking about.
But I have to talk about it because I love how he wrote this in, and it's not really seen. Like, I've never read a book, even like fantasy, romance, mystery. I have not seen this written in any other way beyond sign language. But he has essentially what I imagine is an iPad.
He's an iPad kid.
He's not an iPad kid.
No, it's like a tablet. It's like a wood.
Yeah, it's a tablet. I imagine not like an iPad, but the way it works so fast. I it makes me think iPad, but it's essentially like a tablet that hears what's going on and translates for him. He's got Google Translate.
Yeah, Google Translate on a wooden sign.
Yeah, but then he writes down and it translates for him, and I think that's just so cool how it's written in because he can't speak.
Yes, and his name is Fort. By the way, I just
Ford. I think that's just an amazing way to write in assistive technology in another way to beyond sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a good guy. He's like the first person on the ship that
takes care of Tress.
Yeah, for sure.
So we like Ford.
Speaking of other characters, I thought it was so funny that so they have the main characters that Tress needs to know, Soleil and Anne and Fort and Oolong and then Crow, and then the rest of them, they're just they call them the Dougs. There's just just Dougs. All the other people. They're just the Dougs. I find it so hilarious that he did that in the book. Just you don't need to know any of these people. They're just collectively called the Dougs. We're just
collectively Dougs.
Yes, and I was like, thank goodness I don't have to remember more names.
The Dougs, yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
It was perfect.
Yeah, I
love that a lot.
But going back to quotes, I don't have a quote this time because I listened to the book this week because I was driving 9 hours and needed something to keep me occupied. So I don't have a quote.
9 hours to see me.
Yeah, I drove 9 hours to see Morgan. Unfortunately, to drive to see Kelsey is a lot more than 9 hours.
4 days later.
In a country later.
4 days in one
Yep.
country later.
What do you have, Kels?
So I have a few that I thought were good, but on chapter 24, there's one that says, but the person who is willing to reconsider their assumptions, the hero who can sit down and reevaluate their life, now that is a gemstone that truly glitters, friend. And that's like Hoyd talking about Tress actually thinking about her decisions.
Nice.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I like that. I have chapter 20, and it was Tress kind of looking out over the sea and kind of seeing the vastness of it for the first time. And the narrator says, this beauty transfixed her. Our mind want dangerous things to be ugly, yet Tress found these rolling waves inviting. In the moment, she imagined those rippling spores upon her skin, but rather than cringing, she was curious. Dangerous doesn't make a thing less beautiful. In fact, there's a magnifying influence. Like a candle seems brightest in the darkest nights, deadly beauty in the starkest variety. Very cool.
Pretty.
There's
a lot of pretty ones.
It's very poetic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is. Yeah. A lot of like, now I'm not going to remember the word, but like he just pretends that it's something else, and I think it's beautiful.
Is his writing very poetic in other books, or is just this one?
I don't know if he has other books like this one, but I think it's not as poetic. But I think like the way he describes certain things is kind of still poetic. It's just
Naturally.
a lot.
That's just like Brandon
Like
Sanderson.
denser. Yeah. I mean, like you gotta. Yeah, this book is 400 pages or whatever, and all of his other books are ginormous. So I'm sure there's beautifully written stuff. It's probably just, it's more prevalent in this book because it's so short. Like he just writes the whole thing like that. But the other ones are like Mistborn is 600 plus pages. Way of Kings is like 1,000 pages or whatever. So it probably is just like more sporadically in there. But I'm sure there's beautiful writing in all of it.
Yeah. I think that this book kind of captures a different audience, too.
Yeah, for sure.
So that might have a factor in it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else, you think?
Chandler, you?
I don't have anything else.
Any final theories or thoughts, or how are we feeling about it so far?
I like it. I'm excited to see how it ends and what happens to Charlie and Tress.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out what Hoyt.
Oop, Chandler's drunk.
Promise. While it is possible, it's not.
It's not the case.
Not the case.
This is just Chandler.
That is me as a personality. I'm excited to find what Huck is hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I do
think
agree he is
I think
hiding
he's a key
something.
piece to it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I think
I
he is
like
too.
him a lot. I love the innocence of Tress too.
Yeah.
Like how she was
Yes.
threatening. I know we were about to close out, but I just have to say this. How she was kind of threatening, like, if you don't tell me what's going on, we're gonna have an issue. And he goes, what are you gonna do? And she's like, never talk to you again. And he's like, you're not gonna throw me overboard? You're not gonna
No, we're just
She's
no
like,
longer
no.
friends.
She's like,
I
I'd
would
never do
I
that.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
I know.
She's just she's this cute little blonde girl in my brain. You know?
Yeah.
She's-
I
like Tress
love
a lot.
her. Yeah, she's very innocent, but not in like an annoying female main character is naive kind
She's
of
a
way.
Joe.
Oh, she is a Joe.
Oh, she is a Joe. Oh, cute. She is.
Kelsey's daughter is
That
named
tracks.
Joe for our friends. We love it.
Yes, in case
We love-
you didn't know.
Yeah. We love a Jolie. We
Kelsey's-
said that in a different episode because there
Yeah,
was
but I
a
don't
Jolie
think
in a
we
different book.
specified why
We
love
did
a
not.
Jolie.
Yeah. Yeah. My
We
daughter's
love a
name is Jolie.
because- Yes.
Yeah. She's that's all. Yep.
She's a hoot.
All right. Any other final things? Nope.
I don't have anything.
I don't think so.
Okay, so for next episode, we are going to read the remainder of Tress in the Emerald Sea, so chapters 35 through the end, which is like part 5 and 6 in the epilogue. So that's what we have going for next episode. Thanks so much for listening. If you have drink recs or book recs, we always want them. Thanks!
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you liked our ramblings, please tune in next week and follow us on social media. Book recs and drink recs are always welcome. Until next time.